You don't know how close you are to success if you don't keep going, right? And so you could be this close and you quit. And it's right there. And you just didn't know it. So it's that kind of mindset that like success loves discipline, right? And it's just that discipline that just keeps going over and over and over again that I tapped into. It's hard to be the player and be the coach. And so I'm the coach from the sidelines and then facilitating the discussion. And so we have a saying. So it says, get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And so the world of EOS it's challenging you to the next level.
Welcome to another episode of The Founder's Hustle. Today's guest is Michele Mollard, a certified EOS implementer and total force for entrepreneurial clarity and momentum. She's the coach leaders call when they're ready to align their teams, strengthen communication, and finally get real traction. Get ready, because Michele brings energy, insight, and action. So let's dive in. Welcome, Michele. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Judy. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm thrilled to talk with you. We've known each other for quite some time now on a personal level, mostly on the soccer field. But to dive into both of us communicating on the business side, I'm very excited because I've heard and seen you in action. Tell me a little bit about what it is that you do as an EOS implementer and kind of the backstory of how you became a coach.
As an implementer, I'm what we call a facilitator, a coach, and a teacher, right? So sometimes people think of consultants, and so I just want to clarify that. So I teach the EOS system. I have been trained on it. I talk about coaching. So sometimes you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And so many teams are trying to do the game, right? Play the game. You and I referenced us playing soccer together, but it's hard to be the player and be the coach. And so I'm the coach from the sidelines and then facilitating the discussion, because sometimes we're not on the same page. And what does that mean? And kind of doing things. So that's what I do with leadership teams as they're looking for their journey. My journey that brought me there. So I have had my hands in several businesses of my own over time, really just more isolating in sales. And I didn't think I knew enough about the big business. Then I went to work for a beer, wine, and liquor distributor that was running on EOS. And I was like, kid candy store. We're recording this time at a time that's candy store-esque. And it's just like, what is this new way of thinking about how businesses operate and how the human energy is managed inside of an organization? And it just opened my eyes up completely to it. And I just had to go do this on my own. The entrepreneur spirit had to poke through again. And so started this back in 2020, which is a little interesting year to start that in. But I didn't know that we were going to run into those things. And but soared through it, was all right, came out on the other side of it, and I enjoy every day of being an implementer and helping leadership teams grow.
So what was it that resonated with you when you first saw it at the beer, wine, liquor company that you're with? Like, what was it that was different, or what was it that you saw that you really fell in love with?
Yeah, I saw all shifts, but third shift employees engaging in how they can make a difference to move their team forward and ultimately their operational department forward, right? And so that just didn't seem like it happened. Oftentimes, especially, you get the sales people that are moving things forward or the internal office people, but it was really about that. It was about the operational team out there doing the work, picking the beer, picking the wine, picking the liquor, and doing that. And that absolutely engaged. And so what I loved about it is it doesn't sit with the leadership team only. It's flipping an organization on end, and all the ideas and suggestions that are out there to be able to grow an organization come from them. So there's a quick little saying that I love to tell: those that those that use the broom should buy the broom. And so many organizations, they don't, right? Somebody will make that decision for them and saying, this is how they do it. And they're like, thanks for a tool that I can't use. I don't like it. It doesn't, right? This is what I loved about it when I saw it.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
So if you could describe your entrepreneurial journey using 3 words, what would they be?
I would say grit. I would say village, right? To have a village around you. It takes a village to do this thing. And I would say excitement. Like there's an ups and downs, but the downs are just as exciting sometimes, right? Like as you look back at them. But the ups and downs of that is pretty exciting of just the entrepreneur journey in general.
Yeah. Expand a little bit on the word grit. I know personally on the soccer field, you definitely have grit. You have always had that inner drive. But tell me about that with your journey.
Yeah, the inner drive for sure, is you would just imagine the word grit, but it is this stick-to-itiveness. And I'll say this, Judy and I, you and I had a conversation earlier. We were talking about imposter syndrome. And so sometimes the grit is also in your, what we call in the EOS world, head trash, right? Mind trash. And so the grit to get through the self-doubt and the negative self-talk that you're going through. And so it's perseverance, right? Could be another one. I just like grit because it takes a little bit more than just perseverance to get through it. And so that's what I like about that world. Grit is just that, you got to get through tough days.
Right. So with EOS, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is a franchise system. So they're training you on, because it sounds like this isn't just your everyday average leadership, let me help you business coach, that you're really diving into the heart that takes a certain degree of understanding. But tell me a little bit about how they've trained you.
Yeah, we go through when you first, so I am a franchise owner. And so when you go in and decide to be a franchise owner, you will go through what they call boot camp, right? And so it's 3 days intensive training at the very beginning. They have a great, I would say, learning management system. It's a loose term of learning management system as I know it, but and they really have like these, we call it EOS Academy, right? Implementer Academy. And so we can go in and learn. I was actually just a team yesterday, and there was a tool that I'm like, they need this. I could go into the academy, refresh my brain, get on the phone call with the owner and say, hey, this is it. So even though I've learned all the tools, sometimes I don't use them all at the same time. And so the journey is that. It's just a really great, if you think of pretty successful franchises in the world, it is always their continuous improvement and standardize things. Now, I am very different than other implementers by my personality, but how I teach that tool fundamentally at its base is exactly what EOS prescribes. One of the gentlemen yesterday said, I read the book Traction. You said almost verbatim what that book says. And I'm like, yeah, you told the same story. I'm like, yeah, right. And so, but there's a reason why, right? McDonald's French fries, like there's a reason why things succeed and do well, right?
Right.
That's that systemized, scalable stuff.
And so you just alluded to the fact that your personality is a little bit different than the average Joe. Like, paint the picture. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. One of my teams, I asked them, we have a thing called 3 uniques. What makes us unique than anybody else in our competitors, right? And so one of them said, lovingly direct. Yeah, so Judy and I know each other, and so I definitely have a different presence on the soccer field. I'm not sure there was lovingly anything, but I have grown up, and lovingly direct is about it, right? So really, I'm not afraid of confrontation. Alluding to the fact that we are in the Midwest, you and I, Judy, and there's a thing called Midwest nice. I don't have it. I was raised in New Jersey, and so there's a part of it that is just assertive, right? If somebody's zipper's down or someone's got something in their teeth, people in the East Coast are telling you that you got it, right? And so it's just a little bit different. And so that's really the big other differentiator. I don't know, huge differentiator. There's many of them of why that is. And you alluded to it. The other one is just the energy. Like I'm an energizer bunny. I am sitting there with my pom-poms on. I want nothing but success for them. And so those two things are really kind of a little bit about me and kind of what makes me maybe different from, in Michigan, there's 40 of us, right? So there's a lot of competition here, which is okay. I love them all. They're
right.
Fantastic.
Well, and it really is. Like the translation of sports into the business world is so recognizable. I mean, your energy and spirit, everything you just said about your business world, definitely I saw that on the soccer field in a very positive fashion. So,
right. No,
so absolutely. So you recognized in your earlier career the EOS system, and you thought, I love it. And at some point, you ended up saying, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
What did it take for you to do this? Like, how did you fund your business?
Yeah, I had to sell a few stocks. It's not cheap to go into the franchise agreement with them. And so they want a big chunk of money. I'll leave that unknown. But so I just sold some stocks to do it. I was poised to be able to do it. But then there was a part of it that I was thinking about it for 6 months and then also having about a 6 months I would say a very comfortable 6 months to be able to wait to get income, a very uncomfortable if it took a year to get income, but knowing that it could take a year, right? And it actually did take a year with COVID. It took a longer time to ramp up than it has historically shared with other people that have gone through the journey with it. But yeah, that's how I funded it. So sold some stocks, had some back money. So I didn't have to, like you get a little bit different mindset, a little bit scarcity if you don't have enough of runway, right? Runway meaning expenses to be covered by you. And so that was really helpful. Other implementers sharing with me is have some cash in the bank because you're going to need it.
Right. Yeah. No, and that goes back to your grit. You had the grit to stick with it and not let COVID or any economic reason slow you down. So you're building this business from scratch. You have 40 other, we'll say competitors, but partners in the state of Michigan. For sure. But you're out there, you're beating the pavement. Tell me two things. What was your most unique marketing strategy? And how did you get your first client? Like, what was it that helped you start to build your book of business?
I don't know what's unique, Judy, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I think, like if I can answer them actually opposite order, and that may give into the uniqueness of it. So I think the strategy that I've always used, it's who you know and not what you know, right? I mean, it has to be a little bit of what, right? But my network, I mean, it wasn't the network was strong and it didn't turn as fast as I thought it would, right? There's your runway. But it was really about the network. And so I had known this gentleman a long period of time. And he's like, hey, I've got somebody that I think you need to talk to, and happened to be an overhead door company. And so that's what started the journey. So, and that's what it's always been. It's about relationships. And now it's about delivering masterful, what we call sessions, right? With our clients, we're all day. And that is my lead source, right? And so my biz dev is really just being a great supplier of this system, a teacher of this system for them to refer to me. So I don't know if it's unique, but I do think really, when I'm going back to your first question, is looking at that and saying, we all have the ability to sell. And Judy, you and I know each other. I'm not a hard salesperson, like what's going to put you in the car today? Like I'm not that person. And so it's really about selling has such a bad word, a bad connotation that you're trying to push this on somebody. And it really is not. It's showing them a way. And if they choose the way, then great. And if they don't choose the way, then that's great too. And I think sometimes it gets a bad thing. So it's really about having great relationships with great people. And so maybe it was a mindset that was a little bit of my secret sauce when I did talk to somebody from a marketing or a biz dev, but I can't say it was like these phenomenal LinkedIn posts or this phenomenal website. It wasn't. It was really about me feeding off of relationships with other people and helping them, right? So we have a core value called help first. And so help first before you expect anything in return, right? And so that's kind of how I've led my life, is just how can I help you? And it all comes back. Maybe not right away and maybe not in its same form that you thought it might, but it does come back all the time, every time.
So what I heard from all of that really is relationships. And I've heard that from other entrepreneurs about building their, and then beyond that, which you just alluded to, but I'll use the word care. You obviously care about both your business and your clients. But so was there I think I know the answer to this, but was there any moment during your journey that you just wanted to give up and throw the towel in? It got frustrating.
Oh, how many times? I don't need. I honestly, I think if owners are real, there's been many times. And I can think about teams that I've had that have been in business 30 years, and this makes them, because they want to, it makes them grow, and they get frustrated. And so we have a saying. So it says, "Get comfortable being uncomfortable." Right. And so the world of EOS is it challenges you to the next level. So what got you here is not going to get you there. And so we got to rethink things. We got to rethink our people. We got to rethink our systems and processes. And so relating that backwards is there's times where I ran into a lot of roadblocks, where there was like, I'm making 15 phone calls a day to my network and getting like zero, squat, zilch. And you're just like, what am I doing wrong, right? There's that head trash again, right? There's that grit that says, just keep the way, right? And so, again, with sports, you don't know how close you are to success if you don't keep going, right? And so you could be this close and you quit, and it's right there. And you just didn't know it, right? So it's that kind of mindset that like success loves discipline, right? And it's just that discipline that just keeps going over and over and over again that you really... I tapped into, right? It's just like, as you know, as Division I athlete. And so you don't get there for doing nothing either, right? It's just that repetitive success and practice, right? It's always game time practice, and you can't just kind of go through the motions. And so I don't know if that helps you answer that question. Okay.
So what was one mistake maybe that you made early on that taught you a lesson that you kind of still carry forward?
Yeah. The one lesson that I think that I have learned the most from is I know what they can expect from this. And I got a little bit, I'll say a lot, I can own that. I got a lot of ego around it. And when I was talking to a prospect, I'll say the words exactly, you're missing out on an opportunity of your lifetime. Like, who relates that? Like, I don't know where it came from, right? And then he gave me, which I love, feedback. And he gave me feedback and he says, I can't work with somebody with an ego that big. And I went, wow. And it wasn't. It was a passion statement. And it wasn't, I know what it sounded like. And he doesn't know me, right? And so it was all me. Like, I'm owning it. I take full responsibility for how it is. But I think it's just being careful about how much passion you know and love about your business and then how that comes across, right? Because there's a fine line sometimes between people's interpretation of passion and ego. And that was a hard one because I really wanted the client and didn't get him.
Aw, no, that's a great story. But it's even better that you were open to the feedback and that you took it literally and it helped you grow. Whereas some people don't care about the feedback and they would have just kept on with a quote unquote big ego. But and that's what I appreciate about you and even in our pre-discussions about you just want feedback to become better. Yeah. So let's kind of fast forward to today. Like, what does your business look like today, and what are you most proud of?
I'm proud of the diversity of clients that is there. So I have two that are, so all of them that I have, so 15 clients, which doesn't sound like a lot if you have a lot of widgets, but that's really a lot. 15 to 25 is really where most implementers end up. And I only have two that are in the same industry. Completely different states, right? Two in the same industry. And I love the diversity, right? And so there's not only diversity in thought, but I'm learning some things that are tried and true no matter what industry is in. And I'm like, yeah, I get your product is unique. I get you are unique, but business fundamentally, here's where it is. And so I think that's what I'm probably most proud of. And just being able to see all the nuances that are in all those little businesses and tweak it and turn it and be like, hey, this is what another team saw. They did this. Does that work for you? That doesn't, but this does, right? There's that facilitation of just kind of dropping conversations and get curious to fixing their business or helping them fix the business that drives they're the smartest people in the room, right? I'm not. And they really will pick and choose what they need and they'll be able to know how to implement that change. So that's probably the coolest part of it. That's just that diversity.
So you have 15 clients. What is the average tenure of a client? Do you keep them for a year? Is it ongoing? Gotcha. Like what is...
Yeah, we love to celebrate graduation in 2 years. And so we truly do have I have made it, many implementers have made it as well, a cool graduation ceremony. Like it's really about them mastering what we call the foundational tools and mastering some of the toolbox, as we call it. And so some will say, yes, I've mastered them, but I want to keep you on. Most of it is just for facilitation of the room. They know all that they know. They just want a third party to be like, hey, what about this? What about this? Because again, you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And then some of them say, we're fully graduated and they're fully graduated and they go on. And I keep in touch with them. Once a client, always a client. And they all know that they have access to me. If they ever want to have a phone call, pick up the phone, call me. What do you need? I'll help, right? And so our core focus is to help entrepreneurs get what they want from their business. So that's really what drives me to be able to do there. And if they've already graduated 3 years ago, I have teams that call me all the time and be like, hey, Michele, I'm just running into this problem. Well, here are some things maybe. Did you try this tool? Did you try that tool? Oh, yeah, I got it. And then they're off and running.
That's wonderful. So the graduation part is intriguing that it is a true program. You graduate without becoming specific on a client. Maybe tell me about a special graduation that you felt proud of, that you really turned a client and you were just like, man, like the day that they started and the day that they ended, I just saw tremendous improvement and change.
Yeah, there's a lot to pick from, but I'll pick one. Oh, there's a home healthcare company. I'll leave the name out of it from there, but they were at about 800 caregiver hours. It's how they kind of evaluate their business. I just talked to them the other day, and they're already at like almost 2,000. And this was 3 years ago that they came with me, and then 3,000. So they've just grown that much. And they are well on their way. So 2,000 and well on their way to 3,000. And so not only the growth, but the growth in the humans, right? So it's a father-daughter business. with lots of other people, but those are the owners. And just the growth that those two have had individually as leaders of the organization, and growth that they even had together. And so as any father-daughter, there could be tension that grows in there. And then you add the combination of a business together. They had a partner in there. So there was a lot of things going on. And so they have really, really grown. And so to me, it was much more about their human growth than it is about the numbers. It's a byproduct of a healthy, cohesive, open, honest team, whether it's that team or they now have a leadership team of 5 or 6. And so they really built that team on that. And so they're realizing that foundationally they have it together, and now they want what they want from the rest of it. And they expect that kind of vulnerability, the honesty, right? I don't know what their core values are, but that's really what grew their business for them, is to really just put everything on the table. Even if it was when there was a conversation when she was a young girl that came out and be like, since then you've never trusted me. And here we go.
Wow.
And it was awesome. I mean, it was not very fun, right? Comfortable, being uncomfortable, but it was a huge momentous step for them when they were working with me.
What a win-win, though, right? For the business and for you. I mean, for the father and daughter to work through and to grow, and then for you to, the win is seeing that growth and knowing that you were a part of, that's really fantastic.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
As a successful entrepreneur person in general, what is the best advice that you may have been given that you either took or ignored?
Yeah, I think that the best advice that I took was realizing early in my career, and so those of you that are listening that are starting their business or in a bit of a rut, is that we don't realize that in our head, in our mind, we are feeling a little scarcity. We're feeling a little, I need clients, I need money, right? And I get it, right? We all got to pay bills. We all have mortgages, right? We have the thing. Realizing that if you think that you're masking that, you may not be masking it as well as you were, right? And so somebody gave me very harsh feedback and said, you are like exuding from your pores like fear. And I'm like, whoa, like I thought I was, right? And so best advice is just flip the script. It will come in time, right? If you're a person of faith, go there if you need to go there. But at the same time, like just recognizing that sometimes we are sharing more on our skin, our face, our body language than we think we are letting on. And it was really the best advice. It flipped the script for me. And I'm like, all right, I've got enough. I'm abundant. I've got it. No scarcity, no fear. I'm going to go out of abundance and love. And this is all going to work out. And I'm not kidding you, Judy. 3 months later, 6 months later, floodgates. Like, nice. I'm not kidding you. And I was just like, I thought, feedback, I like it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll take a little bit of that. And I was like, nope, you're going to take it all. He knows, take it all. And I did it. And I see him every time. I give him the biggest hug ever. Like, you helped, he's a great guy. We're a bunch of huggers in our community. So I give him a huge hug and I'm like, you're the reason I'm here. Thank you.
Touching, heartwarming, and just inspiring. And speaking of inspiring, if you had to give personal advice out to young and up-and-coming entrepreneurs, maybe emerging leaders, people who are leaders today, what advice would you give the next wave of individuals that are trying to achieve either entrepreneurial or leadership or just everyday life?
Yeah. My first response, or first thing that came to mind for entrepreneurs, which ultimately are leaders as well, but if you're starting your business, sometimes we're getting ready to get ready, right? And so I'll explain that more. It's like, I have to have the website perfect. I have to have my flyer perfect. I have to have my CRM up and ready and perfect. No one cares. Like, I don't feel like that. I don't know. That's a little bit hard. There's the New Jerseyaner, right? There's the lovingly direct girl. They do care, right? But sometimes we can have paralysis analysis and we're trying to analyze it and just launch. If you think what you have is great and you want to do it, it is going to come flying out of your body. The passion is going to be there. That's what you need to get off the ground and make it go, is that passion and that love and that grit to go. All those things you still need, but work them on the weekends, right? on your 8 to 5, if you are full-time doing this hustle, 8 to 5, do what needs to be done 8 to 5. Do those other things after hours. I had it flipped the script, so somebody helped me with that as well. So that's what I would say for budding entrepreneurs, leaders that are listening to this and wanting this. My biggest advice, and I was not good at this in my younger days. I'm in my 50s these days, but yeah. Listening skills, but I would also say curious. And so they're one and the same. And so if you're a budding leader, get curious with what's going on in your business, or get curious what's going on in your employees, and start asking a lot more questions. And so there was a boss of mine when I was young, almost fresh out of college. And he says, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. And so for leaders emerging there, right, like just keep asking questions, and then listen as you're getting it. Because the feedback, if you're ready to listen and they're ready to share, they're not initially ready to do that. You will get all that you need to know, and your assumptions could be wrong.
Well, if you've enjoyed listening to Michele as much as I have, I'm going to let her give a shout out, and you can reach out to her direct. So Michele, how do we find you? How do we support you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn a ton, and so I really spend most of my time on LinkedIn, so that's an easy way to find me. And so somewhere there's probably a show notes. It's just Michele with 1 L. And then Mollard with 2 L's. So if it's easier, 1 and then 2. And so Michele, just a little nuancing from there, but it is my mugshot, if you will, up there on the LinkedIn page. It's probably the best way. Judy knows that I have my own podcast, so you can find them on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. Just Google Michele Mollard, again, 1 and then 2. And that's probably the best way. The email address, if you get on EOS Worldwide, so it's EOS and then worldwide.com. There's a implementer directory. And just search my name. I'm the only Michele with 1 L in the directory so far. I'm sure there's one to be pound to come in there, but that would be a fine way to find me. And then you can find my microsite and get in touch with me that way.
I will also drop all of your contact information and direct links in the show notes. So just go down in the description and they will all be there. In the meantime, Michele, keep rocking it out. Keep doing what you do, and very much appreciate your time, your story, and your insight for our listeners today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judy. It's an honor to be a part of this.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's Founders Hustle. I would absolutely love to know what resonated with you the most from today's guest. Go ahead and drop me a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, if there's a future topic that you'd like me to touch on, go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. But no matter where you're watching or streaming your favorite shows, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on social media. Tell a friend about this. I would love the support. But in the meantime, keep living, keep growing, and keep hustling, because you are meant to do great things. See you next week.